So additional things about the parallel postulate, more than what we learned today about some exterior interior angles. This is more of an extension problem or situation involving crooks. And we'll see a little bit later about what crooks look like and why they are called crook problems. But as a little opener, I just want you guys to think about how many lines can pass through a point and also be parallel to another line. So in this situation, actually in all situations, when you're talking about this, whether parallel, whether perpendicular, and you're passing through one point, there's only one line that can be created passing through a point, and that's parallel to another line. So in this situation, we do have one. And our parallel postulate is through a point, not on the line, or not on a line. There is exactly one line parallel to the given line. Okay, so looking at our first example, we are given that line L is parallel to line M. And in this situation, we have a crook. So do you see how we have, it's more of like a bend, right? A bent line that is not really so helpful when we're identifying some angle pair relationships. What we'll do is we will create another parallel line through this crook so we can identify what the measure of angle 1 is. So when we create that parallel line, we'll then be able to identify those angle pair relationships. So just looking at these top two lines, and I'm going to label this as N, just so I have a reference point. So looking at just these two parallel lines of L and N, I know that this angle and this angle are same side interior angles, and same side interior angles are supplementary. So I can subtract 115 from 180 and get that this top angle measure here is 65 degrees. So I have the first top measure of that angle 1. Now, looking at my bottom two parallel lines of N and M, I have this 80 degree measure. What's the connection between this angle and this angle? Well, those are those Z angles, or those alternate interior angles. And we know alternate interior angles are congruent. So this measure has to be 80. Now to figure out the entire measure of angle 1, it just happens that we have to add these two together. So 65 plus 80 to get 145 degrees. Okay, let's try some more. So again, we have a crook. We have two parallel lines, and we have this lovely bent, crooked line, which isn't actually a line, but we're going to call it just for the sake of these crook problems. We're going to create a parallel line through that crook, and then identify some different type of angle pair relationships. So if we're looking at just these top two parallel lines, I know the relationship between 120 and this angle here, same side interior angles, they're sup. So this has to be 60. And then our bottom two parallel lines, this is 37. I need this resulting angle. This resulting angle and this 37, they're alternate interior angles. So that measure is 37 as well. So then I'll add them two together, 60 plus 37 to get 97 degrees. Okay, our next one is kind of an extension one because we have a measure of 135 as that crook angle measure. But not to fret, we'll be able to figure out that angle measure of X pretty quickly. So what I'm going to do is again create that parallel line through the crook. So what I'm going to do is just keep in the back of my mind that this whole angle measure is 135, but not keep it in there because I think it'll get a little confusing. So I'm going to etch that out. I know that if I'm looking at my bottom two angle measures, these two angles right here, this one and this one, are same side interior angles. So they're sup. So this angle measure here has to be 180 minus 112, and we get 68. Now, if I know that this whole angle measure is 135, I'll take 135 and subtract 68 from that. What I'll get is 67. So that angle measure is here, which makes sense because, again, this whole angle measure is 135 degrees. So now looking at my top two parallel lines, I know the relationship between this angle measure and this angle measure. They're those z angles. They're those alternate interior angles. So x is in fact 67 degrees as well. Okay, one more before you try this on your own. So looking at this diagram, again, we do have that crook. So right away, I'm going to create that parallel line through the crook. Oops, that's not so through the crook. So parallel line through the crook. That crook, what do I know about its angle measure is that it's 90. That's all I know about it. And I know nothing about the two angle measures. What I do know is that I have this measure of 35. These two angle measures, those are those alternate interior angles. And I know alternate interior angles are congruent. So this guy is 35 as well. Now, if this entire angle measure is 90, I will do 90 minus 35 to get this resulting angle measure of 55. Then again, I have two z angles or alternate interior angles. So x is needing to be 55 degrees. Okay, I would like you to give number 4 a shot. Please pause the video, give it a shot, and then check your solution when you're done. All right, so for number 4, we do have 113 degrees. We have those alternate interior angles of 23, and then we have those same side interior angles, making this measure also a right angle or 90 degrees. Then we add those two angle measures to get this entire angle measure of x. All right, that is it for our crook problems. Make sure if you have any additional questions that you go to the book, make sure you ask me on Monday. Have a great weekend.